And we're back. Joe Rogan and Antonio Brown is a must-see. Like, I seen it, I said, oh, shit, I got to record this. I got to. Hold on. Blind reaction without, going in and listening to him. Oh, yeah, it's a good interview. Antonio Brown be saying some wild, off-the-wall stuff, but I never thought Joe Rogan and Antonio Brown would be on the same podcast. Ever.
The Joe Rogan Experience.
Train by day, Joe Rogan
Come on.
podcast by night. All day.
What's going on, man? Pleasure
How you
to
doing,
meet
man?
you.
Good to see you, baby.
Papa, look at that ring.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Good to see
Pleasure
you.
to meet you. The most fun follow on Twitter by far. Excuse me, X.
Thank you.
Whatever they want to call it. You're the most fun.
Thank you, man. You made my job easy, All the entertainment you give me.
How did you decide to start doing this? First of all, were you always this funny?
I would like to think so.
But like your social media presence, like I think Tony Hinchcliffe told me about you.
Yeah.
He's like, dude, you have to follow Antonio Brown. You must follow. He's the most must follow on the internet. I'm like, really? And then I go to your page and I'm fucking dying laughing. We're sharing it around the green room with the comedy stuff, like, ah! And then when I won Cracker of the Day, I was like, yes!
Yes. Of the year.
Cracker of the Year, that's right.
Yeah. I try to use X as a good platform to bring laughter, bringing humor back and comedy, making people feel good.
Well, you can get wild.
Yeah, I get a little wild sometimes.
You can get wild on X.
Yeah, you can get a little wild on X, but I try to.
Twitter, they would have got rid of you a long time ago.
You would have been canceled.
They probably would have got rid of me too if Elon didn't buy Twitter.
Yeah, we thanks to Elon Musk for giving us that platform to be able to be expressive.
Man.
To bringing comedy back, bringing entertainment.
Fun.
Yeah.
Just ridiculous shit.
Yeah.
Have some fun again.
Have some fun again, yeah.
What happened?
Everybody
Everybody
get too
tightened up
tight.
for like
Yeah.
5
It
years.
was really tight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So how did how did you come up with hashtag CTESPN? Because that's my favorite.
I feel like when I stopped playing football and I walked off the field, people was like, this guy's crazy. Like, he's retarded. You know what I'm saying? He's illiterate. So, I was like, you know what? Maybe I could, rebrand CTSBN with, giving people perspective of different challenges people face and great individuals, how they overcome adversity, and just kind of share and tune perspective of, how people is getting through trauma. No matter if you're a football player, I mean, what is like for you? You started UFC, like.
The reality of head trauma is something that we're like, as a society, we're just embracing over the last 10, 20 years.
Yeah.
Like, it wasn't for that concussion movie. I think that opened up a lot of people's eyes. That Will Smith movie.
Yes.
And the story, that doctor, of him finding how many people have like significant brain trauma from football.
Yes. So for me, I try to use it because this is a serious standpoint. A lot of ex-players and players has been diagnosed and, passed away from CT. So for me, on a serious point of, bringing record awareness and bringing, a reality standpoint of what athletes and people fighting or anyone in their daily lives facing from head trauma, of just people writing them off, and encouraging therapy, encouraging how do you get through tough situation and then making it funny. You know what I'm saying? Because I feel like nowadays if you do something crazy, people like, oh yeah, that guy's crazy. So it's like, let's just show why they crazy in CTSPN and show the cause of the craziness. You know what I mean?
Yeah, there's a real cause, the craziness. And, and we're ignoring it as a society because we love football, we love MMA, we love boxing. So we just kind of like...
overlook it with the entertainment.
Keep moving.
Keep hitting.
I'm friends with a lot of dudes, so I get to see what they're like after fights. Like everybody watches the fight. The fight's amazing, and then you run into them after fights and have a conversation with them. Like, oh man, their whole head's swollen, can't move their hands, can't walk, calves are blown out, knees fucked up, ice here, this there.
It's a challenge.
It's a challenge, man.
Yeah.
It's a real challenge. And when you started playing football, nobody even thought about it.
Yeah, because you just, you never think about the repercussions. You just think how to make a better life.
Well, back then, nobody even really knew that was going to happen to football players. It was kind of a thing that they thought about with boxers. Rarely people talked about football players who aren't doing so good.
Yeah, so I feel like CTSP was brought back to recognize the awareness of high-level people experiencing trauma and not being able to overcome that trauma. Because, you know, life's change on you in a second. You playing football, you know it's going to come to an end, and then what do you do next?
Yeah, that's the hardest thing, right? For pro athletes, you go from being a kid to all of a sudden you are making millions of dollars.
Yes.
And you're young.
Yes.
And you're wild, and you're not thinking it's going to go away, and then all your friends are buying jewelry, and all your friends are buying Mercedes-Benz and Bentleys and all this shit, and you're like, fuck. And I think the number was something like 85% of NFL players go bankrupt within X amount of years after retirement.
Exactly, because the lifestyle, you know, and making so much money and being able to transition in regards of having a new career and not making that much money.
That's what, for me, that's one of the saddest things is all the people that have been and went through the NFL. You don't really hear more. Like, you hear stories, but you don't really hear stories, and it's sad when there's been hundreds of thousands of people that enter the NFL and been through the NFL, and you know, and I guess maybe tens of thousands of people that's been successful, and let's say 60,000 of them has been went bankrupt and all that. You don't hear the stories. You don't hear the people helping the people. It doesn't seem like the NFL is trying to make these people become richer. It doesn't seem like no one's really trying to help them. It's kind of like sad. Like, where are the organizations of ex-NFL players that put money into it, you know, maybe putting their salary or, you know, a percentage of the NFLPA salary or this and that into an organization where it's financially this or that, or if you come into the NFL say, hey, 10% of your checks or 5% of your checks is going to if you have kids, it's going to this account for the future, and if this and this and that and that and that, to make sure that you don't fuck up this money. It's none of that. It's kind of crazy. If I own a business, I own a $1 trillion business or whatever. It's like, anybody that come here, man, I want you to succeed. And if I feel that a bunch of the people that's coming into my company is failing, it's like, whoa, like, no, let's start up an organization to figure out why these people are failing, and let me help them. Let me put some money aside. Let me do this. Let me help you. And I don't feel like a lot of people in the NFL is like family. You know, it's not a lot of people that's in the NFL, like, currently. It's not a lot. If you think of totality-wise, it's not a lot. And it's like, it should be a family. You know, it should be a family organization. It should be everyone there should be kind of like family. It doesn't seem like that, man. It doesn't. You know, 85. You telling me 85% of the people or ex-NFL players or whatever go bankrupt within a certain amount of time? It's like, you're making hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars. And granted, that's only like the great players are making hundreds of millions of dollars. Some people making 200, 300. Some people making $1 million. Some people making $5 million. But even then, man, if you make $5 million, there's no way that you should ever go bankrupt, ever, like ever. You make $5 million, half of that's going to taxes. So you can get you a $500,000 house somewhere. Cool. Other than that, like, chill, relax. What are you doing? Raise your family, put the rest of the money into escrow or whatever the case may be, and you should be fine. And granted, you know, most people are young and dumb and trying to figure out life, and like they were saying, like, you went from just playing football, work, you know, chasing your dreams to shit, here go a fat check every Friday or every other Friday you get $300,000. Like, what the fuck? I'm blowing it. I'm gonna be in the NFL forever. You know, and I think that goes to like the veterans, you know, showing them like, look, man, like, look at this, look at this, look at that, look at that, look at this, look at this. Like, nigga, this shit can go quick. This shit can go quick. Like, save half of it. Save it. You have to. Go put in your contract right now. Like, half of my money going this way. So if you want to spend half, cool, but you know down the line that you got whatever and you can't touch it for 30, 40 years. You know, so I think it should be more things like that, but
all at once like you used to.
Yeah.
And I think sometimes bankroll could be used to protect assets in regards of people coming after you too, you know, and
right.
you're a big
For
target
sure.
when you're in position.
Of course, yeah, but that is another problem with getting wealthy is that you become vulnerable to scoundrels,
the scavengers,
and dirty hoes.
Yeah, dirty hoes, dirtbag,
dirty money grabbing,
musty
like
bitches.
Calculated hoes.
Yeah.
You know, ones that it's not just like, well, the relationship didn't work out. The lawyer told you can get some money from him. Maybe you should go for it. Yeah, fuck him. No, it's like from the jump, they're calculated.
Nah, these ladies these days, they gonna have a nigga baby because they homeless.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, you gotta hit them and back to the streets where you belong, bitch. You know what I'm saying?
Did you ever have situations where you thought like girls were trying to like get over on you?
I just feel like nowadays, girls just want the BBD, the biggest and better deal.
Right. Oh, I thought you were saying.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
That's built into human nature.
Yeah, it's like, human nature is like,
genetic.
What's the next best thing?
Yeah. So, it's called hypergamy. It's like a natural state that women
stay in, right?
Well, they look for, like, if you're doing okay, but then all of a sudden she starts working for a billionaire and he gets divorced and he's real friendly to her. Next thing you know, she starts picturing that
seeing
closet.
The op, right?
She starts picturing that closet and seeing all those shoes and purses and all that jewelry.
She started licking chops going to the movie theater.
He's actually nicer to me than my boyfriend.
Yeah.
And then they start justifying it, and next thing you know, old
she's going. She's going to the movie theater.
It's hypergamy, yeah. It's a natural state that some women, I mean, obviously there's great women out there with character and morals, and they don't do that, but it's a natural thing that women do. They try to find a better suitor.
Bigger and better deal.
Yeah. Yeah. When you talk about CTE, when did you first start noticing the effects of football?
I feel like, to me, I always knew like the game was gonna come to an end. And I feel like, to me, I always played the game smart as a receiver, not putting myself in bad positions, getting hit. But I did have a chance to, rest in peace, Demarius Thomas, one of the ex-receivers who came in the NFL around the time I came in. I had a chance to see him experience, some of that CTE trauma. And in the midst.
How did he pass?
From CTE.
Yeah?
Yeah.
He passed from CTE?
Yeah, when they study his brain, because I don't want to speak about the problems that he really had, but being a close friend to him, we seen some of the experience that he was going through. And playing for Temple my last year when we won the Super Bowl, I think it had a player, Vincent Jackson, rest in peace, also passed from CTE. So for me, it's a real thing.
It's a real thing.
And not only just from the hits you take, but like you said, aftermath of your career, or, having a moment in your career where some guys can't get over it, or, you done seen fighters have a fight, or it may not go the way that they wanted to go, and it could possibly affect the outcome of how they look at it. And I feel like we all have traumas in our lives from all.
One thing about Antonio Brown, like, granted, I don't think his vocabulary is all up there and all this, but the things that people are saying about him, about he's crazy and he this and he that, like, having this interview right now and just talking for the last 8 minutes or so, like, it shows you, like, he's an intelligent person. And he doesn't have to be intelligent like Bill Gates. He doesn't have to be intelligent like Elon Musk. He doesn't have to be intelligent like Joe Rogan. He doesn't even have to be intelligent like any of these people, or Donald Trump, or Barack Obama, or Michelle Obama, or Oprah. Like, he don't have to be intelligent like these people. But the stories that they were putting around him, like, do I think he has some loose screws? For sure. But having us sit down and having them talk and having them saying and connecting the dots, the man is there. He's not that off the wall.
No matter if you play sports or not. So just raising awareness of getting mental therapy and being able to, work on yourself so you can have a better life.
That's an important point you brought up, like the psychology of an athlete. You have to learn how to, like, put losses behind you and failures behind you and regain your confidence and then excel and move forward.
Yeah.
Right?
You just got to not let one moment overtake the overall moments of your career.
Right.
Some moments are big moments, and if you get cut, little things that happen in your career, just take it with a grain of salt and be able to cope with the situations you're in.
Yeah. When did you? I mean, you talk pretty openly about CTE, but when did you start feeling the effects of that?
I feel like for me, I don't really. I feel like I always was in tune and aware of my situation and where I'm at in life. I've been pretty blessed in my regards of being a football player, to be able to come from Central Michigan as a walk-on to Central Michigan, leave 3 years, go to the Steelers being the second receiver pick in that year. And then, I always had a high belief in myself and never was deteriorated about the position or where I had to start from or where I was going. So for me, I always had the intuitive trust and the belief in myself regarding any situation I've been in because, I came from Liberty City from nothing. So to me, everything's a blessing. So I never let football or any position I ever was in life deteriorate my perspective and my outlook or how I looked at.
Did you feel the way your brain work change at all, though?
No, I feel like the older you get playing sport, you realize deteriorate, what the game entails on your body. I feel like in my 20s, I was just ripping through, dominating the game.
Right,
then when you get 30, obviously it's a business. They're looking for younger players to excel at the game. And then when you leave one of the best teams and put yourself in a position to, to do what's important for you other than important for the NFL, so you know what's going to come with that. So to me, I always made a calculated decisions, to put myself in the best position, i.e. like playing with Tom Brady, going to the Pacers or leaving the Steelers or, I always try to just knew I wasn't going to play for a long time, just maximize the moment in the meantime playing. So when I'm done playing, I could live a healthy life.
So you played smart.
Gotta play smart.
And as a receiver, man, they're coming for you.
Yeah, you
Take
gotta
him
play
in.
smart.
That's
target numero uno.
Yeah.
Know?
All the way.
Yeah. Do you encounter a lot of young guys or I'm sure you run into and you definitely did while you're playing, young guys are coming in and you feel compelled to let them know hey, you got a short amount of time here.
Yes.
Nobody, the longest anybody ever lasts is like Brady.
Yeah.
What's he now? He's thinking about doing it again.
Yeah.
He's what is he, 43?
44 probably, yeah.
Quarterback's a little different, right?
Yeah.
A lot different, right, than a receiver.
Different than a receiver, yeah.
And they have longer careers, but, it's obviously, for most people, you start hitting your 30s. That's the same thing with fighters as well. So when they pass 35, that's the cutoff. 35, you're always looking for decline. And some of them hang in there strong, like Alex Pereira. He's 37. Yeah. He's hanging in there strong, killing everybody. But for most guys, 35, 36, that's the drop-off, 37. Do you feel compelled to talk to the young guys and
Absolutely, because it's a short window of opportunity.
Yeah.
And you got to know, what are you set out to do? You know what I mean? What are you came to do? You got to have those intangibles and just, it's a long game.
Yeah, yeah. So, life is a long game.
Life is a long game, so
yeah. Football's a chapter. Life's a long game. And it can be the most fun chapter of your whole life.
Exactly. But it's not real life.
Right.
Football is just what you do. It's really not who you is, but I feel like people will kind of get to know you from what you do based off, you know what I mean?
Yeah, of course, yeah.
Yeah.
The other thing is that, some guys, they have a real problem when they stop playing because they don't know who they are anymore. They used to be a football player, and now all of a sudden they're just a regular person who was a football.
I'm going to cut it off right there, but that's a great cutoff point. When you listen to these people talk about, football players leaving, retiring or their career get cut short, and they don't know what to do. It's imagine this is what you've done since you've been 6, 7, 8, 9 years old. Literally, you woke up, you went to sleep, you dreamed about being in a professional sport. This is what you've been doing for the last 16, 17, 18, 19, 20 years. That's what you've been doing. And the weekends you've been doing it, you've been going to this, you've been going to that, you've been training, you've been doing this. You wake up, you go to school, you go to train, you wake up, you think about football, you look at football on the weekend, on basketball, any type of sports like that. And literally, that's what you are. Your parents are not telling you, hey, also see if you can get a doctor's degree, or also see if you can become a mechanic, or do this or do that, or hey, help me clean out the gutter, or help me cook, or this and no, you just focus on that. So if that's all you focus on in your whole life, you're 35 years old or you're 27 years old and you've been in NFL for 6, 7 years and it get cut short, or you say, I want to retire. Once you retire, what the hell is there for you to do? You played in elementary, you played in middle school, you played in high school, and if you play other sports, And then that's all you did. And in the summertime, you went to weightlifting, you training for football, and then you go to college. And you play 3 years, you play 4 years, you play 5 years, then you go to NFL, and you play 6 years. That's your whole life. Like, what do you know what I'm saying? And maybe you go and chilling with family and relaxing for a little bit, but, you know, you got to recover from injuries from the previous year. You got to try to get better. Like, your whole life is surrounded by that. So once you retire, you are essentially a football player, and that's all you really are, unless your family helped you develop traits when you were younger. Because if not, you're just a football player. That's all you can do. You look at everything strategic like a football player. You try to tackle everything like it's football, because that's all essentially you've known. That's what they've developed you to be. It's that a football player. So now you would have to essentially redevelop yourself to become something else beside a football player. Like, now if you have kids, you can teach your kids like, oh, this is a football thing. But while you're learning outside of that, like, you got to be able, you can teach your kids that. But what else can you teach your kids if that's all you know? That's it. So you got to be able to develop as a human, you know, which is tough, man. Like I said, if you've been playing football for 20 years, like, that's literally all you know, and you haven't developed any other traits, and you've been the best in high school, you've been the best in college, and now you're the best in the NFL, and your career get cut short. There's no, like, you walk in a store, and you're just a football player. You know, 10 years after that, you walk in the store, those people may or may not know you. Now you're no one, and you're like, damn, I've been on this high in football or basketball or whatever. I've been on this high, and then I'm just like, you don't know who I am. You know, you have to be able to, like they said, it's a chapter in your life. It's not your whole life. It's a chapter. Life is long, and, you know, football's a chapter. And say you were in the Marines, that's a chapter. You could be an awful person. You could go around beating up people. You could be a killer, whatever the case may be. That was just a chapter that hopefully you served your time and you learned. You did this, or you was a gardener, or you was a CVS worker, or whatever. That's just a chapter in your life. That's not who you are, unless you sit right here and say you know, I work at CVS and I want to own CVS. So I work at CVS and this is what I want to do. I'm fine with this. I'm content in life. And granted, you are a worker at CVS, but you're also other things. You might be a mom. You might be this. You might be that. You might be this. You might go do that. But, you know, your life revolves essentially around CVS. And essentially, so, I mean, I think I've made, you know, my point, of what I'm trying to say. But yeah, it's sad, man, that, you know, you hear stories about certain players or whatever commit suicide in NFL, or NFL people, or whomever people in sports, or they just don't feel, you know, they don't feel that same, what's the name, you know, because no one's telling them. And I think now the things are going around and people are saying, oh, this and that and that and that, and they're more vocal now than they were in the past. And I think it's beautiful, man. I think it's definitely beautiful. But I'm going to finish this on my own, this whole interview on my own. I just want to, you know, put my 2 cents in it and all that. That's all I have. Until next time, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Don't forget to make someone laugh. I've been a little bit under the weather. Forgive me for my voice if it sounds crazy. But yeah, don't forget to make someone laugh. Don't forget to laugh yourself. Don't forget to smile. Make someone day if you can. Yeah, just keep being the best you could do. I mean, to be the best you could be, and just be you, man. And then we are out of here.